And we begin with this. Completely fed up with Ilhan Omar and her inflammatory rhetoric, lawmakers in Congress are now preparing to launch a significant probe into her mysterious and shocking increase in personal net worth. Yeah. How'd that happen? According to reports, the prestigious House Oversight Committee is currently turning up the heat on Omar, and in a big way. And Committee Chairman James Comer of Kentucky, he now promises that sooner or later, either his group or the House Ethics Committee is going to catch up with the Minnesota Congresswoman, get to the bottom of the matter, and find out the exact truth about where all of her reported $30 million came from. Furthermore, Comer says his team is now actively consulting with their own lawyers about the possibility of taking a surprising first step in the investigation by issuing a legally binding subpoena to Omar's wheeler-dealer husband, that guy, Tim Minette. Brother Minette, come on down. Let's have a chat. The committee chairman says to begin with, there are a whole bunch of questions about how Omar's hubby managed to suddenly accumulate so much wealth over the past couple of years after previously being worth pretty much next to nothing. Yeah, tell us how you do that. He goes on to argue that as a money guy, he knows it's simply not possible for that kind of wealth to inexplicably sprout up overnight, especially when the companies in question have no apparent source of legitimate revenue. Additionally, federal law enforcement officials now confirm they're actively investigating all the politicians who are associated in any way with Minnesota's staggering $9 billion fraud scandal. Yeah, including the congresswoman in whose district most of the Somali social welfare schemes took place. I'm not allowed to mention her name, but I can tell you this. It rhymes with Ilhan Omar. Minnesota Republican Representative Tom Emmer says the widening scope of the probe into Omar is long overdue. Says that, at the very least, the House Ethics Committee has a duty to investigate the Congresswoman because while taxpayers were getting fleeced by Somali fraudsters, both she and her husband were raking in millions all through their shady business ventures. Now, President Trump, he's taking it just a little bit further, now calling Omar a constant complainer who hates America, adding that she knows everything there is to know about the billions in her state's fraud. He also says she should be in jail, or even worse, sent back to her birth country of Somalia, where she can help, quote, make Somalia great again. Now, for her part, Omar is fighting back the only way she can by using inappropriate language to insult the Trump administration, ICE, and the USA itself. Says that she and her fellow immigrants fought to escape countries where this kind of appalling conduct takes place, that they never thought they'd have to experience it ever again, and that we should all be ashamed that it's happening right here in America. She said that, did she? Well, bless her little heart. Final thought, and this is the News Roundup Lowdown. Now, here's the deal. Almost 100% of the time, those get-rich-quick schemes are just that, schemes. Nobody really gets rich, and somebody always ends up getting duped. But this time, one person, Congress gal Ilhan Omar, and her spouse, that'd be husband number 3, they break the mold and go from rags to riches seemingly overnight. And Republicans are calling foul. I'll tell you, I don't like that one bit. This whole thing strikes me as just mean-spirited, partisan politicking. And I say there's a perfectly good explanation for the couple's newfound wealth. Look, they had a winery, and maybe they were selling Chianti for $50,000 per bottle. Maybe her husband, that Tim Minette fella, maybe he operated an investment firm that charged clients tens of thousands of dollars per hour for that top-notch financial advice. Also, it's never happened before, and I'm just kind of thinking out loud, but I wonder if editor Pranov the Magnificent, has a picture of one of these things. Maybe they planted some money trees in their backyard, and the trees grew some of those brand new, crisp $100 bills every day. That can really add up. Just because she's representing the 5th District in a state which is being investigated for billions of dollars worth of fraud, and she now magically has $30 million in the bank, well, it doesn't necessarily mean that she's done something wrong. So you go right ahead. You issue that subpoena to Ms. Omar's current hubby, and I'm sure he's got a perfectly good explanation regarding the couple's newfound wealth.